Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another Bloomburrow Arena Direct. If you've never played an Arena Direct before, it is a best of one sealed event on Arena where you are playing digital Magic with the potential to win physical booster boxes shipped directly to you. Very cool event. We're playing best of one Bloomburrow Sealed this time around, trying to get 6 wins before 2 losses. If we can accomplish that, that is when we get those Bloomburrow boxes shipped to us. So we've managed to prize out every other Arena Direct that we've played in the past. And if you can do that in under 8 tries, because it costs about $25 worth of gems per attempt, if you can cash out within 8 attempts, you are in the money, as the booster boxes are worth a little bit above $200 if you sell them off for anywhere near MSRP. So very cool events. I am ready to just hop right back into it because we are going to be grinding this event out as long as it takes to potentially get a box of Bloomburrow, actually 2 boxes of Bloomburrow. So without further ado, bust open our packs and see what we get to play with today. So we have 2 Emberheart challengers, so we could play a really good aggressive red deck here. We also have the Zora line, which is insane. Incredible enter the battlefield effect and attack trigger, reanimating any non-land permanents with mana value 3 or less, not even just creatures specifically, so you could pick up good enchantment and stuff. I had an opponent reanimate a Caretaker's Talent with this thing. Absolutely filthy. So Zoraline is pretty incredible. The Beastbinder is another just great aggressive early game creature. And then the other 3 rares are pretty bad. Wishing Well and Artist's Talents are basically unplayable in sealed. And Wick is just okay. Pretty much a 4 mana 2/1 that, or sorry, a 4 mana 2/4 that comes with a 1/1. It can technically get a bigger snail if you have a bunch of rats in your deck, but very, very rarely is there any value to the Grixis ability. Wick is a little mediocre, but these 4 are excellent, excellent rares. So we'll see if we can do anything. Maybe some red-white mice, some black-white bats, anything like that. We'll see what the sealed pool has in store for us. We have some decent fixing out of just lands with Hidden Grotto and Uncharted Haven. Very little when it comes to colorless spells. These 2 cards are not interesting at all. Pawn Profit for green or blue is a good value play. Double Head of the Homestead towards building out a wide board state in a green or white deck. That's pretty solid. We've got the Boros Seedglaive Mentor uncommon. Great Vigilant Hasty Threat that keeps getting bigger as you target it. Double Plume-Creed Mentor if we've got a blue-white Flyers kind of deck. That card can be great. Blue-white Birds in this format. Mana Ramp out of Gruul. Not a ton elsewhere. So some solid uncommons and just multicolored cards in general. The spiciest is Zoraline, but double blue-white Birds is exciting. And then some good hybrid cards for multiple different color pairs. So try to keep those in mind, but it looks like mostly we're just going to rely on checking out what the strongest 2 colors in the sealed pool are and just run those. So white looks really nice. The double Carrot Cake work as our 2-drop creatures, and they're really good at setting up your draws and making sure that your deck plays out consistently, which is particularly good in sealed, because a lot of your mana curves and just the power level of your deck in general is going to be really inconsistent, where you have like a really strong bomb and then like some really weak filler. So the difference between your good and bad draws is quite high, so just scrying a couple times, getting those rabbit tokens, getting some chump blocks, plays incredibly well. It also works really well with the Harvest Right Host, and we have the double Head of the Homestead that works well with this card as well to potentially draw extra cards. So pretty big fan of the white here. Double Carrot Cake, double Harvest Right Host is great. Banishing Light is excellent removal, and Sonar Strike is decent removal as well. So our white looks really solid. The Carrot Cakes also can be reanimated off of a Zora line if we go for black-white specifically. And there's, of course, the double Head of the Homestead to go with that Harvest Right Host. So really, really enjoying the whites. For the blue now, we have some pretty mediocre birds. Night Fisher's nice, but the Sky Skipper duos are whatever, so it doesn't look like the greatest sealed pool for the blue-white deck. We do have the Beastbinder, which is nice, but the non-creature spells are also quite bad. I mean, I've got like no Otters, so Pearl of Wisdom's not very good. Runaway Together's pretty inefficient. Spellgyre's pretty expensive. I mean, Beastbinder and Nightfish are pretty exciting with our blue-white signpost uncommons. Dire Downdraft is not a terrible deal. But overall, blue looks quite a bit more mediocre than our white. Black has double Wix Patrol. This is an excellent card to stabilize in the late game. So for a more controlling deck, Wix Patrol is fantastic, and pretty much any sealed deck, because those games do tend to play slower. And we have just insane removal. We have Nocturnal Hunger, and Double Saver. So I might even like our black more than our white right now. Our creature base is not very good, but if we go white here and then we throw in the multicolored cards, we get the double Head of the Homestead and the Zoraline as well. That really fills out the creature curve. So black-white is looking very, very viable. Because just, again, excellent interaction here out of black. And really good 2-for-1s at the top of the curve. So quite a big fan of our black. Our red is also quite nice, though. The take out the trash here, conduct electricity, and the assaults are a little more mediocre. I mean, I guess the spark shooters, the roughshod duo. Most of our red is actually just like decent. But the double Emberheart Challenger is pretty exciting, especially with the curve that we have going here that looks pretty solid. I accidentally cut one, but obviously I'll put that back in if we do play red. So like Boros could be okay. Red does look pretty solid here. But I just think in sealed, the grindier big 2-for-1 plays just play incredibly well. Plus like the really efficient removal of like Saver, Nocturnal Hunger stuff. I mean, there's just a lot of absolute bangers in terms of sealed power level. Savers, Hunger, Double Wix Patrol, of course Zoraline as well, that we get access to going Orzhov instead of Boros. Boros, we're trying to cheese people out, and we're decent at doing it with 2 mana 2/2 hastes, the 3 mana 3/2 haste. But I think the black-white deck will be a little more consistent and still incredibly powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and go for that here. A little bit of a personal taste thing here, but I think it's also probably just a little better on average. So let's see. Put in all the good stuff, which is a lot of the cards. Scales of Shale is not awful, so since I do need a tiny bit more filler, we throw that in the end. There is a chance to splash a little bit. I've got a Haven and a Hidden Grotto. I just don't think anything in here is incredibly worth splashing. This is not the balmiest sealed pool ever, outside of the black-white Zoraline, obviously. Yeah, it's just like good aggro cards, but you don't splash those in. You don't splash in Challengers or Beast Binders. You definitely don't splash in Wishing Well. The card just sucks. Same with Artist's Talent. Yeah, so we just play a Scales of Shale or two as a decent little combat trick, and that'll be fine. Yeah, should be a pretty simple sealed build today. Gets us into the games nice and quick. Let's just see how this is going to do. So maybe some Feather Flights as potential cuts here. Feather Flight works fine with Zoraline. It's another just non-land permanent 3 mana value or less we could reanimate. But I do only have 12 like creatures. I've got 2 Carrot Cakes, so that makes it more like 14. How do I sort by name? I guess I'll just do Oracle text. There. So the Carrot Cakes are up top now, adding to the creature curve. I'd probably rather cut a Scales of Shale than a Feather of Flight, since Feather of Flight does have the Zoraline synergy. Yeah, they're all fine, but I just need to cut some kind of non-creature card here. Cut a Scales. 17 lands, but I've got like double great 6-drops, that's fine. Zoraline's basically a 5-drop as well, so the curve is pretty high, pretty mid-rangey. I mean, I could go 16 lands, not play the tap land or something, but this looks super solid to me. Pretty much about as good as I think it's going to get in this sealed pool, so we'll call it a deck here. Well, let me double check the mana. 13 white cards, 11 black. It's very close on the 2 colors. I'm happy with a 50-50, especially with powerful double black cards and no... Well, Head of the Homestead are double white. Yeah, I've got powerful double white and double black. But the colors are really, really close, so we will go 50-50 split. And now I will call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. All right, here we are for game 1. We do really need to draw lands here, and we're on the play, which is awkward, but this is a very strong hand. One land. We're pretty safe for a little while here with the Saver and the Hunger and the Host. And obviously, if we can hit this mana for the Head of the Homesteads, then the Host is going to start popping off if it is not dealt with. Alright, first draw is a non-land card, not exactly what we want to see here. Our opponent starts with Brazen Collector, perfect target for a Savior to keep them off the mana ramp of that, and make sure that if I do top deck land 3, which I did, I get to curve out, slam down our 3-drop here, instead of tapping out to Saver. Okay. There's land 4. One land away from the the Head of the Homesteads. Always get my cards mixed up. I do have to specifically hit a white source at this point. We got triple black here before anything else, which is awkward. Okay, sadly no combat trick, though no saving the Harvest Right Host. Well, here's the Soothsayer then. Osteomancer Adept lets them keep recasting any creature in their graveyard by foraging. So I do need to kill that pretty bad. They currently don't have the tools they need to forage with. So I'm going to hold on to Sonar Strike and see if we can just Sonar Strike instead of Nocturnal Hunger, since Nocturnal Hunger is more flexible. Cool. Save the food token to eat during our turn at some point to get the Surveil 1. I didn't eat it during our turn there because there's a chance we still had to Hunger instead of Strike. Okay, Carrot Cake does not gain a life when we play it. It's when we sack it, but I can play it and sack it and trigger Soothsayer, so that's fine. I guess Soothsayer only matters for their Surveil, so like if I'm keeping something off on the top with the Scry, then it doesn't really matter that I get the Surveil. We're just working our way to land 5, I believe. So maybe we will get Surveil value, let's see. Alright, sure. Scry finds the land anyway. Well, it's not a white source though. Yeah, no, we still have to scry to bottom. So we might have gotten Surveil value. Depends on if the top card is a Plains. If the top card's a Plains, then we wouldn't have done anything with our Surveil. Playful Shove is decent here since we actually have the 1/1s to kill. But they are down to 2 cards over there. There's a Thoughtstalker Warlock. That's pretty frustrating. Genuinely on this board, like, I just keep Head of the Homestead, don't I? So weird. I have double Wix Patrol, Early Winter, and Banishing Light to draw into still, and a Saver. Yeah, I've got a lot of removal in this deck. I think I actually have to just keep threats. Oh, what is going on with the mana? One card in their hand? Show me another removal spell. It's the only way to lock in a Zoraline trigger next turn. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and keep waiting for a Plains and doing absolutely nothing until we hit a Plains or any of our cards. Alright. Played well, because we would not be kicking Zoraline right now, or casting Head of the Homestead. It is not fun to have to pray to RNGesus that hard, but where we're at. And it worked out. I'm going to pick up the host so that should Zoraline stick around another turn, we get to pick up the carrot cake and draw a card off of the host by getting 2 rabbits off of that. Just going maximum value here. And I'm playing lands even though they could have more discard spells like Thoughtstalker Warlock, because if I have to discard a double white card when I don't have double white anyway, it's probably fine. It is much less fine if I don't have the mana to like activate Zoraline and cast a thing, or activate her and eat a food. Okay. I don't hate that. It's not insanely inherently useful right now, but I'm pretty sure it is better than another random draw here out of like the top 3. If I scry to the bottom, then draw. Alright. Zoraline's in the trash, but she has accomplished a ton for us. We're much closer to the white source for the Head of the Homestead now, which would be insane on the host. 2-swing lethal. Go for it. There's the white source. If host doesn't die next turn, then our opponent dies anyway. So it's not like we're going to get any like Head of the Homestead card draw, but now if they do kill the host, we still get to keep playing threats. Alright. Solid stuff that game. I was very concerned that when we slammed down the Zoraline, they were just going to have the removal, but I think that that was the best play because it was the most likely to get us rolling with a bunch of card advantage there. Because then it doesn't matter what lands we draw, we get that Zoraline rolling and go from there, and that is 100% what happened, which is lucky for sure. There is always the chance that we like play the Zoraline that turn, and then our opponent has removal, and then we top deck the plains, and then that play looks awful. Because then it's like, well, now we played the Zoraline without getting a single reanimator out of her when I would have just been able to reanimate something a turn later. Like, that's why it was a difficult choice there, for sure. But I think we had to just go for it because of the double Head of the Homestead, where it's like, unless I draw specifically a plains, I'm doing absolutely nothing without rolling out that Zoraline. Alright, opponent goes rare, and then they go rare, and I can't kill both of them, so I'm scared. So I want to have the host out before I head to the Homestead, but I'm not going to do that yet. I guess I'd rather trade a 3-1 into the Flamecaller than a 3-3, so start with the Marsh Stalker. We did miss land 4, sadly. Oh my god. Opponent plays rare, mythic. This card is technically not a mythic, but it is known as the mythic uncommon from the format because that is how well it plays in terms of power level. This card takes over and wins games easily. A 2-mana removal spell is already efficient. This is that, and then it wins every board stall ever by drawing you a card every single turn and trampling over. Card is disgusting, and I'm feeling really concerned about our position here. Keep playing cards that are theoretically big enough to kill the Flamecaller. But also expendable enough to not be sad if they removal spell. Okay, no removal. And Hunter's Talent is not level 4 yet. But there's the removal. Next turn they just get to assault the players. Got the Sonar Strike. I'm missing land drops though, so I can't like host plus strike. If I Sonar Strike, I'm doing nothing else this turn, so they just assault the players, attack both. I strike the Flame Caller. Take 4. That's what it is. I don't really have a better line than that. I do get a free attack here because if they trade this off into Pathmaker, then they just lose the assault forever. So they're just not going to block. We are in a painful position here, but if we last long enough to get to 6 mana, there's a chance we can try to fight this Hunter's Talent with Wix Patrol style 2-for-1s. Rare number 3, which feels like rare 4 because Hunter's Talent. Nobody blocks well. Yeah, nobody really accomplishes anything at all here, but I guess if I play Waxwane Witness instead of Harvest Right Host, then if I draw into a Saver or something, then I can play the Host plus the Saver for 3 mana and 2 mana. It's like draws a bunch of cards as well. If they cast 8 mana worth of spells in their turn. And it gives them a bunch of mana. If they get a bunch of raccoons. Alright, level up the talent. They're drawing 2 cards a turn. Blacksmith's Talent, also an absolute banger and sealed. Another card that just wins a board stall. Gives your best creature double strike and haste forever. Makes it insane. It's actually already really good because gets out of reach of Waxwane Witness. Sure. And that is not land 6 for Wix Patrol. Can technically early winter the Pathmaker and then block the Moira. And live exactly 1 more turn. But even if I live that, even if I hit the Wix Patrol and like clear their board entirely, they're just guaranteed to win off of the talents. Still not on board lethal yet. Now it is. Well, if they target where it is. We exile Pathmaker in response. Tree Guard gives that +2/+2. They attack with a 4-power creature. Hunter's Talent makes it 5. Alright, here we are for game 3. Unfortunately on the draw, but the hand looks really nice. We have both colors of mana. We have Saver into Zoraline, into Wick, into Early Winter. Saw a little curve here. Opponent starts with Carrot Cake. Excellent card. Setting up those draws, making sure they hit what they need. They are going to keep a card on top. There's the Harvest Right Host, which is pretty terrifying. It's also too big for me to Savor, which is rough. There's no way I just Savor a rabbit. And I forgot to mention, Zoraline isn't really a 3-drop. This curve kind of starts at 4 mana. It's Savor into Wick, and then we want to do Zoraline at 5 mana for immediate value. And now the Marsh Stalker is our creature to have in graveyard. 4 Zoralines enter the battlefield effect. Sticky Tongue Sentinel Carrot Cake is pretty nasty. That's going to be everything they need to draw the card off of Harvestrite Host, and I can't stop it because I'm on the draw. If I were on the play, I could early winter this host right now. Off land 5. Before they accomplish that combo, but we're on the draw. We're too slow. So here comes Wick. And I think any trade is pretty fine. So they're down to 16. There's the Carrot Cake. Get a Scry, get a host trigger, stack the Carrot Cake, get another host trigger, draw a card. Yep, fantastic combo. Scales of Shale. Probably have to just hold up instants here because I'm not reanimating anything with Zoraline. I could get the Carrot Cake down and then hold up Savor or Scales, but then like I can't kill the Harvestrite Host in response to them playing like an Offspring Rabbit or the Head of the Homestead or anything like that. And I want to have that option available. Make sure they don't draw any more cards off of the host. Okay. Just going to pass through here, so we will go ahead and get rid of the host, I think. I'm at 12. The flyer is an issue, but I have a flyer of my own, a Savor, a Scales of Shale, a little bit of life gain there. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of the host. Ooh, a Feather Flight as well. Could be spooky. And if Feather Flight ends up engraved, that's another Zoraline option. $12 to $19. Probably Feather Flight Wick on blocks. It's got Flash, and I've got the Indestructible trick up. Really make sure it works fine. Alright, well that was an excellent deal. And they pass, alright. So we just start jamming with Wick now. Get in there, John Wick. Start sending in a Waxwayne Witness as well. Ooh, gift a card. I will happily take a card. I think I would have been a lot less happy if they just wiped without the gift. Because I don't think a 3/3 is that incredible to keep post-wipe. Okay. 3 mana value or less, so we can get Marsh Stalker. Marsh Stalker with a finality counter is a little awkward. But this is my only way to put any threats on board. Alright, I can just Carrot Cake the empty board. which also kind of just sucks. So we'll Zoraline. Marshstalker. And I could Feather Flight the Zoraline to draw a card, but it feels better to have multiple creatures. Sure. Baker's Bane Duo. Okay, despite getting board wiped, I think I'm coming ahead card advantage-wise pretty quickly. If I top deck a land, I can host Carrot Cake, sack Carrot Cake all in the same turn. Kind of want to do that. Just to make sure, even if they have Sorcery Speed removal, we get the card draw out of that exchange. So I feel like I really have time. Okay, that works too. Good lord, if they don't have removal. I forgot this deck has 2 of these. We have 2 hosts and 2 carrot cakes. And 2 Head of the Homesteads? Yeesh! This is just Harvest Right host the deck. Alright, there goes one of them. They did have Sorcery Speed removal. Sticky Tongue Sentinel the Lookout. Sure, you can get more lands. That is a-okay. Head of the Homestead here. Save the Carrot Cake. Play the stronger power card here. If they have the 1 mana +2/+2 trick here, it's kind of bad if I attack. I think I'm in a good enough spot. I don't need to try to jam in for the 6 and like throw a Saver or Sonar Strike at that. Alright, there goes a 1/1. And here comes 3 more on their board. Keep that for sure. Right. It's one of my best post-board wipe positions I've been in a while. Beauregard Mentor is pretty big. I've got the Banishing Light though. Even Wix Patrol is surprisingly gonna do enough. Don't mill the other Wix Patrol. Okay, we didn't mill the other Wix Patrol. We did hit 3 non-lands, which is not super fun, but didn't hit a Wix Patrol. This is gonna look super suspicious, but what are you gonna do? It goes pretty well for me no matter what. Sure. Alright, get out the way. Send in the team. Alright. There's the concession from our opponent, and we are 2-1 now. Some pretty simple games of Magic today. I think all these were pretty predetermined outcomes. We are 2-1 heading into Game 4. Alright, here we are for Game 4. We're on the draw, and we desperately need to draw something that costs less than 5, but I'm still going to keep it. We have both of our colors, thanks to Uncharted Haven. We've got 3 mana removal if they play one of these scary, cheap bomb rares. Got some good cards for the opener. First draw is Plains number 4, which I am not that happy with. There's Fountain Port Bell. So our opponent isn't aggroing us out or anything. They're just setting up in their early turns. Grab a swamp. Why did I... Oh my god, my brain died. I Uncharted Haven for green. I'm tired. I just thought ahead of the homestead, and I'm like, yeah, we're the green-white rabbit deck with multiple Harvest Right hosts and everything. No, we're not. We're black-white. That's so funny. Alright, well... Yeesh, these draws. It might not matter if I draw literally nothing but lands, like I am at this point. But that is pretty hilariously embarrassing. Alright, there we go. We hit a 4-drop just in time. Come on out, Wick. But now the Star Charter's potentially going to be drawing them some cards. This feels like a pretty predestined loss at this point. I mean, I guess if I played insanely defensively, could have Banishing Lighted the Maha, discarding a Plains, still dying to the Star Charter. I don't know that we're going to get to 5 power, but this has the best chance to. Saver does work. I did get punished for choosing green instead of black there. Oh, that's funny. Alright, well. I am a tired man. So I will die to Curse of Exhaustion. Wow, yeah, no, this game was winnable. Alright, what are you gonna do? We're dead now, though, from Trample. Not dead on board, but I am certainly dead over time. Alright. And that would kill us even if I just held up Saber there instead of drawing another card. Okay. Alright, that game was probably winnable. If we had Uncharted Haven on black and then if I held on to Banishing Light instead of killing the 3/3, I still think with the information we had at the time, with the hand that we had at the time, Banishing Lighting the 3/3 was pretty reasonable. I mean, Our one game that we lost yesterday because we didn't make a pretty similar play where it's like we've got the removal in hand, we have nothing else to do, we know the hand is pretty slow, nothing we're guaranteed to do till turn 5, like kind of just cash that in, stop that extra damage. It just happened to play really poorly because they played an incredible mythic really quickly after. So I'm not super disappointed with the Banishing Light play, but obviously Uncharted Haven on green was hilariously bad. Um, if we had Uncharted Haven on black, and then also if I did play really defensively, this is less of like a locked in misplay with the information we had at the time and more of a like because of what they had in hand, it would have played better. Um, that would have really changed things. And again, it's not the kind of thing where like I'm saying that I made the right play. I don't think I did. It may have still been better to hold the Banishing Light back, but it's like really close. Because everything here is going to be, statistics based. What is the odds of our opponent just getting a bunch of extra damage in with this 3/3 that stacks up into us dying too much faster versus the odds of them having something I really need to Banishing Light within a couple turns. And I went for the gamble on, well, I think this thing's just going to damage me a lot because I'm not doing anything till turn 5, and then that just was not the case. So, played out as poorly as possible, which is what it is. Again, this game was winnable if I were omniscient and held that back for the Maha, because we ended up drawing into just a bunch of efficient removal to deal with everything else. So, all right, 2-2, but almost definitely could have been 3-1. But even then, again, just one loss away from getting knocked out of the event here. It's pretty rough. These are super high variance events here. Just a single game where we had to mulligan a couple times or something could have still taken us out. So not the most disappointed in the world to lose that game. It's fine. We can open another sealed pool, move on to bigger and brighter pastures potentially. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in a recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.